to call up Mr. Oscar Ortiz. As many of you know, Oscar is the executive director of Sebastian Strong, an organization whose mission is to fund research for cures of childhood cancers, and it's named for his son Sebastian, a Columbus student who died from cancer at the age of 16.
Oscar Ortiz is undergoing an arduous journey. He's paddling more than 100 miles to raise money to combat the disease that took his young son's life.
I've done endurance events in the past, so that part always appealed to me. The testing your body to do something that sounds outlandish. But this was more than that, about what the journey is like. I spent a lot of time talking to Sebastian. I would go off to the side on my own, and I have a picture of him on my kayak looking at me with a beautiful smile. And I spent a lot of time talking to him about how much I miss him, how much he's in my heart, how much I love him.
As the castaways battle the hardships of paddling 160 nautical miles, they remember that cancer victims often fight a much more difficult battle, sometimes with outdated treatments.
Frankly, and the purpose of it is to raise awareness and funding for more targeted and less toxic treatments. Sebastian's treatment was 40 years old, as I mentioned several times. And it didn't work, and it was really hard. We need to find better answers, and I keep going back to that.
There have been a lot of advances, scientific advances, in our understanding of cancer. Unfortunately for pediatric cancer, there are some specific issues that make it more difficult to innovate, okay? One of those issues is that pediatric cancer is a rare disease in general.
Sometimes we get to the point where there are no other options for patients, despite all the advances in medicine over the years and even the exciting new therapies coming out or being tested nowadays. We still get to the point where there just aren't any more options for specific patients. And having to tell that to the families is hard, and it's just extremely frustrating and devastating both to the families and to the team taking care of them.
The biggest surgery I've had, and it was from right below my sternum to around a little below my belly button.
And the funding that's needed for the research, and without that, it's difficult, if not impossible, to find treatment that really works or a cure. If there aren't people that are interested or backing it or really advocating for it, then it becomes lost. So awareness, I think, is the first step, and funding.
A lot of the larger organizations that are out there, all with wonderful causes, with wonderful intentions for funding cancer research, really don't give a lot of money to pediatric cancer.
That lack of funding, combined with outdated treatments, inspired Oscar Ortiz to create the nonprofit organization Sebastian Strong to aid and fund pediatric cancer.
Why we started Sebastian Strong was during his 14-month battle. Particularly towards the end, we learned a lot about the lack of funding that currently exists in the fight against pediatric cancer. And we saw how little innovation exists in the fight.
When Sebastian passed away, it felt unreal. It felt kind of like a nightmare.
And the family created this foundation not only to honor his memory, but to really find a cure for pediatric cancer and better ways of supporting these children. And the foundation is focused on actually funding directly new treatments and new research opportunities.
It doesn't bring Sebastian back. Unfortunately, that's never going to be the case. I can never have him. But if I can save someone else, then that'll be some level of vindication. There's got to be something better, and we have to fight for something better.